Guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be a Vora loadout and pretty much a guide to Vora. I'll be talking about her in this video, how to play her, how she is currently, my opinions on her as a champion. Now, she may not be in ranked yet, but that does not mean we can't talk about her because we pretty much know what she's going to be in ranked. Not going to be too much different from casuals, honestly. And there's going to be a video talking about her talents and giving you guys some really solid loadouts if you guys really do want to try Vora out and have some success with her in your casual games before she does go into ranked. And so you guys can learn the champion before she does go into ranked as well to give you guys another option to play for flank. If you guys want me to continue doing these types of videos, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing if you are new, and sharing the video really helps me out and honestly appreciate it, guys. If you guys missed my tier list video, I actually did a tier list last week for Vora's Pact. If you guys missed that, go check that video out. I went in depth, like an hour and 20 minutes or something crazy of me talking, breaking everything down, just like how you guys like it. So go check that video out. I'll have that linked at the end of this video, hopefully. Before we do get into this, though, I'm just going to talk about Vora, at least currently, right now in the game. Before I do go through any loadouts or anything like that, but pretty much Vora, if you're going to be playing Vora as a new champion, aside being a new champion, if you're looking to win with a flank in the game, ask yourself, what reason is there for you to play Vora over Xin currently in the game? Now, I'm recording this for Vora's Pact, so if you guys are watching this video after the fact and we're like, I don't know, 2-3 updates from when she got released. Maybe she might have changed. I have no idea. But I'm recording this right now on the patch she got released, which is Vora's Pact update. So, ask your guys' self, what reason is there to play Vora over Xin currently? Apart from being probably one of the best, I don't know, apart from like Isle, probably being one of the best in-game base model designs out of any new champion we've gotten, at least recently. Apart from Isle, I think she's probably the second best, at least base model in the game for a new champion. But her as a flank, at least as a flank, what reason is there to play over Xin if you want to win games? I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think Vora right now as well, not taking into consideration the bugs, she's currently insanely bugged. Now, I only play on Switch version. I don't know if these bugs are exclusive to Switch or if these bugs are on all the other platforms as well. So if you guys are playing on PS4, Xbox, if you're a PC player watching this video as well, let us know in the comments down below. Are these bugs the same? Because right now, at least on Switch, when I play her on Switch and everybody plays her on Switch, half the time her tendril goes on cooldown, but it does not proc, which is fucking bugged. They refuse to fix it. It's still like that, like, I don't know, at least like 25 to like 40% of the time. You'll hit a tendril onto something, it'll tell you that you're touching something on the map, a player, in the environment, whatever, and it'll go on cooldown without you pulling up to the tendril or you moving at all. It'll just proc the cooldown, but you won't actually move, and it'll go on cooldown and waste your movement ability. And then there's a second huge bug where people will actually walk out of your ult. You'll go up to somebody, click your ult, they'll stay still for like a second, but then they'll be able to walk out of your ult, but you'll still be locked into the animation, and you'll chop the air, and you'll completely waste your ult by they completely walk out of your ult when they're supposed to be immobilized. So it mainly happens with tanks. It mainly does. I've actually experienced that. I've legit, guys, she's been out for about a week now. Actually, not even a week. She's been out for, I don't know. The patch was released on, I think, I don't know. She's been out for about a week and a half, I guess. A week and a half now. We had a double EXP weekend this last weekend. I legit played her all of Friday and all of Saturday, getting her to around about level 25. Like legit 2 days in a row, I did nothing all day for the majority of the day but play Vora. Right now, currently in game, I think I'm level 29 or level 30 with her currently. So I think I'm probably one of the highest level Voras in the game. I think I've seen a couple other people that are like level 35. I see one level 50, but the guy has no life, and he legit just farms and plays the game 24 hours a day because he has no job and he has no social life. He has nothing else. So, and the guy does nothing but 5-stack with his buddies the entire day. So, I've only seen one level 50 Vora, and that's because the guy has absolute no life, and the guy just 5-stacks with everybody and farms bot games and LATAM games. But apart from that, Vora as a flank champion right now, guys, I think I wouldn't say she's the worst flank champion in the game. I'm putting bugs aside, not taking into consideration any of the bugs currently because those need to be fixed first before we get a real accurate representation before she goes into ranked. But as a flank champion, Vora right now, I think she's pretty weak. Like, you compare Vora to a lot of the other flanks currently in the game, and you just honestly don't get the value out of her that you do a lot of the other flanks. That's like why I said, why are you going to be playing Vora right now, guys, over Xin? Xin does pretty much the same thing as Vora currently, and he does everything that Vora does, but better. He has an ult that isn't fucking bugged and isn't a fucking piece of shit to get off. Vora's ult, guys, I think out of all the flanks in the game, she has the worst ult out of all the flanks in the game. That's even besides things like Lex ult, Sky ult, Eevee ult, like the ults that are really avoidable or really don't get that much value. I think Vora's ult, if they want to buff Vora, they need to make Vora's ult, and they need to rework her ult or make it speed up the animation, do something, or make it so the target you're trying to execute does not take damage and cannot be kill stolen from you. Or if somebody does steal the kill from you, make your ult 100% refunded. The real problem with Vora right now, I think, which makes her insanely weak over a lot of the other flanks currently in the game, is that her ult fucking sucks. The animation is too long. You're immobilized for, I don't know, a solid 5 seconds. You're in place a solid 5 seconds. I know you have DR and movement speed, but the little amount of DR you have when an entire team is focusing you and you're stationary for a solid 5 seconds, it doesn't make up for you getting killed the majority of the time. And it's pretty much only good on tanks. There's really no reason to use your ult on squishies, because if you do, then somebody's going to steal your kill, and then when you're in the animation, you have somebody locked down and they're mobilized in place. Somebody's going to shoot at your target, and you're going to use your ult, and you're going to use your entire animation, and you're going to burn your ult for an assist kill. That's the problem with Vora right now. Either somebody steals your kill, or when you're trying to go for your ult, you're immobilized. The animation is so fucking long to the point where you either get killed standing in place, or somebody steals your kill, and then your ult, you waste your entire ult for getting an assist kill and you don't even get a kill, or you end up dying and your ult gets wasted anyways. I'd say out of all the flanks in the game, she probably has the worst ult out of all the flanks in the game currently. If they really do want to buff Vora going into this next patch, I think they need to take a look at her ult, up the speed on her ult, make the animation down to like, I don't know, a solid like 2 seconds or something, or make it so that the person you're trying to target has damage immunity, and you're the only one that can damage them if they're below the damage threshold for an execution kill. So people can't steal your kill, and then your ult doesn't get fucking value, and your ult pretty much gets wasted for no reason. Her ult, guys, does not charge that fast. Just because she doesn't do that much damage as well is the reason why. Is another thing I'm going to talk about. Vora's damage. You compare Vora to a lot of things in the game currently. What's good currently in the game? Double healers, pockets, bulky tanks that run at people. What does Vora struggle with? All of the above. Her damage fucking sucks. I think if they want Vora to be good as well, currently in the game, they need to buff her damage. You look at other flanks in the game currently that have really good damage, like I said, Xin. Xin may not have as much long-range poke damage as Vora does, but his damage is a lot more consistent, a lot more reliable than Vora's is. Like, he has two medium swings that do 400, which are medium range, and then he has a Pierce that has infinite range that does 700 at base. and can be buffed up to 850 with a talent. I mean, you look at Xin. What reason is there to play Vora over Xin currently? Like, you look at Xin, the only thing that is different apart from Xin and Vora is, like I said, the lack of a little bit more of a long range presence, at least for damage for Xin, because it only has a single pierce on his heavy hit. Vora has constant hits that can go long, medium range, or long range, and more consistent damage at range, apart from Xin. And Xin does not have vertical mobility, Vora does. That's the only two things that are separating Xin from Vora right now. There is no reason to use Vora over Xin in this current game. Like, if you're looking for a flank and you want something that can actually do stuff, and you're looking for something similar to Vora, or something that does something similar, and you're looking for that on your team, there's no reason to pick Vora over Xin, guys. Xin has way better, more reliable of an escape. You can dive as much as you want, and you have a really solid escape that isn't bugged, and that does not get a... Sometimes it also as well, it'll pull you towards the wall, but you'll end up getting hooked on a wall. Similar to Grover's Vine. They said it was going to be better than Grover's Vine. It's not. Like, sometimes you'll end up pulling your tendril, and you'll get hooked on a wall, and you not get pulled fully. It'll proc, it'll pull you, but it won't get, like, the max range that you're supposed to get out of it, because you'll get stuck on a wall or a corner or something like that. Xin has better movement, better reliability on his movement ability, way more safe than Vora can be. You don't need to get up into people's face. They both play pretty much the same style. You poke from range, and you get, if somebody dives, you can box them at close range. In Zin's case, yeah, you can do it a lot better because he does a lot more damage. But you pretty much poke from range, and you can get close range whenever you need to when their targets are low. They pretty much both play the same way, but Xin has a better ult. He has an execution when he runs Guillotine. He has 3 viable talents, Smolder being great, Guillotine being great, and Yomi being great, all great talents. He has better survivability with his movement. He has better damage overall, even though he doesn't have as much poke damage as Vora does. Way more viable loadout cards, in my honest opinion. I think Xin has way better loadout cards than Vora does currently. Vora is kind of limited on the amount of loadout cards that she actually does have, because she only has mainly 1 viable talent, in my honest opinion, maybe 2 talents depending on the team, which we'll talk about in a bit. But like, you look at her damage really isn't that good. Compare her damage to something like an Androxus, a Xin, like a lot of these other flanks, and you're kind of lacking in damage. I think the amount of damage in the game currently is so high to the point where she's not even viable because she doesn't do enough damage. And if you do pick her into a double healer comp, she doesn't do enough damage to do anything to a double healer comp until you get Cauterized 3. Even with Cauterized 3, there's so much healing in the game currently. She struggles to kill stuff. Like, I think that's Vora's problem as well. She doesn't do enough damage to the point where she just absolutely struggles to kill stuff. That's mainly versus teams that have double healers or really bulky tanks that are getting pocketed really hard the majority of the tank, or the majority of the game. Granted, you probably won't be going after the tanks most of the time, but still, that's where you're going to be getting your max amount of stacks from. You're going to be hitting the tanks to get your stacks, so that's kind of crucial as well as in her passive. But I mean, I guess apart from Xin as well, she does have a silence. I think it's a silence or a cripple in her kit on her obliteration when she has max stacks. And then she has a slight heal in her base kit as well with Dark Siphon when that gets max stacks. So, I mean, I guess she has a little bit different stuff apart from Xin. But overall, if you want a better flank, you're looking for a flank that does the same job as Vora, you're going to be picking Xin every time, guys. I think if they do want to buff her going into this next couple patches, if she goes into rank in the state she is now, being all buggy and having no damage and a shitty fucking ult, I think Vora is going to be one of the worst flanks in the game, honestly. Not as bad as Moji and not as bad as Lex, but she's probably going to be top 5 worst flanks in the game. Like, honestly, she really is not that good. And I've legit played her, like, I'm almost non-stop for, like, the past like off and on. At least not this past week. I haven't played her nonstop, but like last weekend, I legit played her like nonstop during the double EXP weekend. I'm speaking from experience, guys. She is not that good. She looks great. At least her in-game model looks great, and her gold skin looks fucking great, which I still want, but come on. No reason to play her over Xin if you're looking for a flank, at least currently on this current patch. Let's go over to her talents real quick. Obliteration, probably the worst talent out of all the talents she has. Obliteration now silences enemies for 1.5 seconds. This ability is way too difficult to get off. You have a 1 second damage immunity. After that, you're locked into an animation for about 3 seconds where you can take damage. You throw yourself forward, and you apply a small knockback to somebody. Meanwhile, during that time, they usually end up running away, or they wait till your damage immunity is done, and then they burst you down when you're still locked out of your animation. You can't do anything. Worst talent in the game, at least for Vora, or probably one of the worst flank talents in the game, honestly. Apart from like things like Blood Reaper and those other shitty talents. Dragon Fangs, a lot of the other useless talents. Probably one of the worst talents in the game now. Tendril, her Relentless Presence, probably the most viable talent you're going to be choosing on her about 95% of the time. Tendril gains a second charge. There you go. Probably the best talent she has currently. And then Unyielding Pressure. This is going to be for teams that have really bulky tanks or like a really bulky teams. Mainly you're going to be picking this talent into Rom, because Rom just gets fucking farmed by it, and you actually do a fuck ton of damage with this talent versus Rom. So teams that have like things like Rom, Khan, 2 huge bulky tanks, you're going to be trying to shred tanks the majority of the game with this. Your Dark Siphon now deals additional 10% of the target's max health as damage over 1.5 seconds. So mainly something that you use to go against tanks a lot better. I'd say maybe 5% of the time you'll be choosing this talent. 95% of the time you'll be choosing the double Tendril talent, and then Deafening Silence. Fucking useless, never choose it unless you want to throw games. I've got 2 loadouts for you guys, and then maybe some other options I'll talk about. But as far for loadout cards, she does not really have that many loadout cards. This is probably my main build. This is the main build I do use for Vora currently in about 95% of my games. And probably one of the best builds there currently is for. You're going to be running the Relentless Presence for that double Tendril just because you want that movement. Especially at least on Switch, she's fucking bugged. So 40% of the time your Tendril will proc and it'll go on cooldown anyways. So you don't want to have one charge of it. You want to at least have 2 so you can at least still try moving around the map, even though the game is fucking bugged and she's bugged. Tendril, reducing the cooldown up to, I think it's 3 seconds. So originally, I think it's 12-second cooldown. You reduce that down to, I think, like 9 seconds. Plus, you can stack Chronos on that as well, which is really good. The stuff you're going to be buying with, at least from the item store, with Vora, you're usually going to be stacking your Cauterize and your Chronos. And after that, usually, at least for me personally, I stack Nimble. I think Nimble's really good on her as well. And apart from that, it's kind of whatever else you really want to run. She does okay with Life Rip. Kill to heal ain't that bad. It's kind of whatever you really want to run at that point. Haven, Resilience, if they have the Sky or something that can use Illuminate, run Illuminate. But mainly you're going to be running Cauterize. Mainly you're going to be running the Chronos. And then as your tier 3 item, probably Nimble. And then as your 4th item from the item shop, it's kind of whatever you want. Master Riding, Morale Boost, whatever you want to run. But mainly those 3 items is what you're really going to want to be choosing on Vora. Dance with Fate, going to be your main card just for this loadout. Reduce the cooldown of Tendril by 3 seconds. And Elegant Pairing, reduce the cooldown of Dark Siphon and Obliteration by 2 seconds each after activating Tendril. Now this does proc twice, so technically instead of 2 seconds, you'll be getting a 4-second cooldown on both of these abilities each time you say you activate it twice. So if you activate your Tendril twice, you'll be getting a 4-second cooldown on both of these abilities. Pretty good value out of that card. For filler cards, kind of whatever you want to run here, you can change the points around whatever you want, but me personally, this is what I have. Reduce the cooldown of Tendril by, I think it's rank 2, 1.2 seconds at a rank 2. after hitting somebody with a Dark Siphon, so there's a little bit more of CDR on your Tendril, which brings it down to like around about 7.5 seconds with no Chronos. A filler card gives you a 75 health shield, activating your Tendril, which does proc twice if you use your Tendril in succession, so you'll get a 150 health shield if you use them both right away. And then some DR, 8% DR for 3 seconds after activating Tendril, which I'm not 100% sure if this stacks, but if it does, that may be a bit of a broken card. If you use both your Tendrils in the same time frame, like right after each other, maybe it stacks. I'm not 100% sure, but if it does, then you're getting for a tier 2 card, you're getting 16% DR if you're using both your Tendrils at the same time. So this is gonna be your main loadout. Like I said, some of these filler cards, the points in these filler cards can be changed around a little bit. Apart from that, these are going to be your main cards you're going to be wanting to run with a Relentless Presence loadout. Probably her only mainly viable loadout currently. If you want to have the max mobility and get the max amount of value out of her currently. As for the second loadout, this is going to be for Unyielding Pressure. Like I said, this is going to be a talent that you once in a while pick if you're going against teams like really bulky tanks, Rom, Gon, Inara, stuff like that has like a shitload of bulky tanks. If you mainly want to farm the tanks the majority of the game, this is a great talent and a good loadout for you. This is going to be more of a self-sustain loadout as well. Broken Path, you're going to put this at a 5. You're going to be getting 250 health back for hitting on top of the 200, I think it's either 200 or 300 health tick heal you get from a max stacks Dark Siphon hit. So you're going to be getting that 300 health plus 250 health on top of that. So you got about, 550 health there without Cauterize, that is. Self-sustain on that ability. What else? What's the other card? I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head because I don't have the loadouts right by me right now, but I know what I usually run. Sharpened Resolve this year is going to be at a 5. Pretty much, if you guys don't know, every time you consume a stack, which is her passive, you hit somebody, you gain a stack, right? At max stacks, you'll be getting a 50 health heal per stack. So 50 times 5, I don't know what that is, but I think it's like 250 health. I think once said and done, you're getting around about 850 health self-sustain from the base 300 health I think you're getting from a max stacks Dark Siphon, plus this card, which gives you 250, that's 500, and then plus this, which is I think another 200. So you're getting around about 800 health, uncauterized health, from these two cards alone if you're constantly hitting something with Dark Siphon and getting those max stacks. So you can pretty much without Cauterize until around about Cauterize 2, you're unkillable if you keep hitting people with max stacks Dark Siphons. And you're doing 10% max health to people. So makes you really bulky and makes you really hard to kill, at least early to about mid-game. I forgot what one this is. A lot of people like to run this card here as well, the Maw's Embrace. I really don't see no point in running this card. Like, if you really want to run this card, just buy Nimble. Like, you don't need to waste one of your loadout cards when you can just buy something from the item shop if you really do want that extra movement speed. Like, it's kind of a useless card. I see so many people have that card as a 5 in their loadouts, and they really don't need it as a 5. Like, honestly. Unified Purpose, a really solid card. Reduce the damage you take by 10% for, it's going to be 2 seconds after hitting an enemy with Dark Siphon. That'll be a really good filler card. Forgot what the other card was. Elegant Parring, really solid card, and this last card is going to be a filler card, whatever you really want. I run False Idol just because I think that card's a little underrated. The 2 seconds, I think they need to buff this card as well. 2 seconds for having 5% movement speed and a little bit of lifesteal isn't really enough. I think they should buff it like up to 4 seconds at least. Other this card also does have a 15-second internal cooldown as well, which ain't too bad, but still. Mainly, this is going to be the loadout you're running, more of a self-sustain loadout with a bit of DR and a bit of CDR. Mainly, is going to be your 2 cards. As for other cards, we're going to talk about our other cards real quick that I'm not running. Garbage card, Obliteration, 1 to 5% ult charge for each enemy hit by Obliteration. You're never going to be using this card ever. Garbage card needs to be reworked. Reduce the cooldown of Dark Siphon by 1 to 5 seconds if it fails to hit a target. I don't know why anybody would be using this card unless they have fucking potato garbage aim, because Dark Siphon is one of the easiest abilities to hit in the game. Even being a small projectile, it's really easy to hit. Card needs to be reworked. I don't know why anybody would ever run that card, like I said, unless they have potato garbage ass aim. And if you have garbage ass aim with this champion, then you shouldn't even be playing her. Like I said, guys, she is a projectile champ, so if you can't play projectile champions, then don't play her, or at least learn how to play them before you do pick up Vora. A max health card, which is a decent card, increasing your health, but you just don't have much room on your loadouts to really fit it into your loadouts, apart from maybe like a filler card. Inevitability. Reduce the cooldown of Dark Siphon, at least hitting 1 enemy with Obliteration, kind of a useless card. A shield card, which ain't too bad, depends on what you really want to run, but shielding really isn't that valuable currently in the game, just because it gets knocked down so easily with the amount of damage there currently is, and it's 375 damage really doesn't give you that much value for the amount of points you have to run in the card. Increase the knockback of Obliteration by up to 40%. I don't know why anybody would ever run this card. Nobody should ever be running that card ever. Tendril, this decent filler card. Miles Embrace, like I said, needs to be reworked. There's no reason to run this card. If you want to have that extra movement speed without wasting loadout cards and without wasting points in your loadout cards, running this at a 5, just buy Nimble in the item shop. That way you don't have to run. You can run something else and you don't have to waste your loadout cards. Apart from that, like the loadout cards we currently have in this build are good for this talent mainly. That's the only reason you're going to be using these cards, otherwise they're kind of garbage. And then, like I said, for the double Tendril talent, mainly going to be running that CDR on your Tendril cooldown, and then some other stuff like that. So, not even going to talk about Deafening Silence, because it's probably one of the worst flank talents in the game. There's no reason you're going to ever be running that talent over these other 2 talents. It's just way too risky. If you do run that talent, you want to build a loadout based around Obliteration, you're going to end up feeding your ass off, because 99% of the people that do try just running like a build based around Obliteration and trying to like dive people the entire game and trying to get procs off of Obliteration just end up feeding their ass off. It's way too risky. She's meant to be a poke from range and then go in close when they have like 1 health type of flank, similar to like a Xin. Like I said, she's pretty much identical to Xin, apart from like 1 or 2, maybe 3 things. But I don't know. If there's some loadouts I did not talk about, or if there's something I am missing in this video, let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe if you guys are new and you guys want me to continue to bring in these types of videos, and these loadout guides and champion reviews, whatever. Subscribe, like, share the video. Really appreciate it. Apart from that, like I said, ask yourself, why would I play Vora over Xin currently in its current patch? If you guys are watching this, maybe like 2 or 3 patches from now, maybe they fixed her bugs, maybe they gave her a damage buff, or maybe they did something to her that makes her a lot better. But at least currently right now, if she goes into the state of ranked right now, which she currently is, being a buggy mess and having almost no damage and any fucking probably one of the worst flank ults in the game, if not the worst ult in the game currently, she's probably top 3 worst flanks in the game, if I'm being completely honest. At least on console. Like I said, I play on Switch, I play on console. Maybe she's different on PC because projectiles are way better on PC. I have no idea. If you play on PC, let us know in the comments down below. But at least for console, and when I do play on, she's honestly kind of garbage. Like, compared to a lot of the other flanks, the amount of damage she doesn't do. A lot of other flanks do way more damage. There's so much healing in the game. There's so many bulky tanks that like to run you down in the game. Her mobility isn't the greatest. I don't know. Apart from that, hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Thanks for watching.